Lieutenant Catherine Wright floated in her escape pod for 3 days. She was the only survivor from the USS Horizon. The exploration ship had been destroyed when they met the alien Vaxery fleet near Tau Ceti. Catherine had managed to launch her pod just before the explosion. Now she drifted in space, hoping someone would find her. On the third day, a shadow fell over her pod. Through the small window, Catherine saw a massive ship. It was unlike anything built by humans. The ship was dark gray with blue lights along its hull. It was at least 20 times larger than the biggest Earth vessel. A beam of light shot out from the alien ship and pulled her pod inside. Catherine grabbed her emergency kit and put on her uniform jacket. She wanted to look like a proper officer when she met whoever was on that ship. The pod door opened with a hiss. Catherine stepped out into a large hangar bay. The air was breathable but had a strange smell, like cinnamon mixed with metal. 5 tall creatures stood in front of her. They had 4 arms and hard, shell-like skin that shimmered in the blue light. Their eyes were large and made up of many smaller parts, like insect eyes. They wore what looked like armor, with symbols Catherine didn't recognize. "I am Lieutenant Catherine Wright of the United Earth Fleet," she said clearly. "My ship was destroyed. I request assistance under the galactic travel rights." The aliens looked at each other. One stepped forward and held up a small device. It made a series of clicking and humming sounds. Then, to Catherine's surprise, it spoke in rough English. "Human, you prisoner, come," Catherine frowned. "Prisoner, there's been a mistake. We were on a peaceful mission." The alien didn't respond. 2 of them moved behind her and pushed her forward. Catherine considered fighting, but she was outnumbered and had no idea where she was. Better to cooperate for now and look for a chance to escape later. They led her through long hallways with curved walls. The ship was even bigger inside than it had appeared from the outside. Catherine tried to memorize the route, but there were too many turns. Finally, they stopped at a small room with a clear door. One alien pushed her inside. The door sealed with a soft click. There was a simple bed, something like a toilet, and a small table built into the wall. No windows, no control panels. Why am I being held? What happened to my crew? Catherine asked, but the aliens were already walking away. For the next few days, Catherine tried to learn more about her situation. Aliens would bring her food twice a day, strange blue cubes that tasted like sweet potatoes. They ignored her questions. Catherine studied her cell carefully. The walls were smooth and warm to the touch. The clear door allowed her to see into the hallway, but she couldn't see far in either direction. She noticed the aliens had a regular pattern. Guard changes happened every 6 hours. During these times, there was a brief period when no one watched. Her cell, on the 5th day, Catherine saw a new alien. This one was taller than the others and wore more decorated armor. It stood outside her cell, watching her with those strange compound eyes. "Why human ship in Vaxery space?" it asked through the translation device. "We didn't know it was your space," Catherine answered. "We're explorers, scientists. We meant no harm. Humans always say peace. Humans always take." "That's not true. We want to learn about other species, not fight them." The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You learn by taking prisoner too?" Catherine realized this alien thought humans had captured Vaxery before. "There's been a misunderstanding. We've never met your kind before." The alien stared at her for a long moment. "I am Commander Krell. You will answer questions or not eat." Over the next week, Commander Krell came every day. The questions were always about Earth's defenses, military strength, and colony locations. Catherine gave vague answers or refused to speak. Sometimes they didn't bring food after these sessions. Catherine kept track of time by counting meals and guard changes. She estimated she had been on the ship for about 3 weeks when something unexpected happened. She was lying on her bed, trying to sleep, when a bright light flashed through the entire ship. The normal blue glow of the hallway went dark. Emergency lights came on, casting red shadows everywhere. Catherine sat up quickly. There was some kind of problem with the ship. Maybe this was her chance to escape. In the dim red light, she noticed something strange. The wall next to her bed was glowing faintly. Symbols appeared on its surface, shapes and lines that reminded her of old Earth computer code. "What is that?" she whispered to herself. To her shock, the symbols pulsed brighter. When she spoke, they shifted, forming new patterns. Catherine moved closer to the wall. She had studied xenolinguistics in the academy. These symbols seemed to be responding to her voice. "Hello?" she said quietly. The symbols rearranged again. A pattern emerged that looked almost like words. Before she could try again, the normal lights came back on. The symbols faded from the wall as if they had never been there. Catherine heard the heavy steps of guards approaching. She quickly lay back down and pretended to be asleep. 2 Vaxery guards passed by her cell, talking in their clicking language. Catherine's mind raced. The ship had responded to her voice, but why? The Vaxery clearly controlled the vessel. Yet something had reacted specifically to her. The next day, Catherine waited until the guard change. When no one was watching, she moved to the wall where she had seen the symbols. "Can you hear me?" she whispered, placing her hand on the smooth surface. Nothing happened. She tried again, this time in different languages she knew. Still nothing. Then she remembered her advanced training. Earth scientists had developed a simplified language for potential first contact situations. It used basic sounds that could be produced by most vocal systems. "Hello, I am human. I seek communication," she said in this specialized language. The wall warmed under her palm. Faint symbols appeared, glowing softly. Catherine's heart beat faster. She was right. The ship was responding to her, not to the Vaxery. She tried more phrases in the first contact language. Each time, the symbols changed slightly. She couldn't understand the meaning, but it was definitely a response. A noise in the hallway made her pull her hand away quickly. The symbols vanished. A guard walked by, not giving her a second look. Catherine sat on her bed, mind working quickly. If she could communicate with the ship somehow, maybe she could find a way out. Maybe she could even learn why the Vaxery had attacked the horizon. That night, as the ship's lights dimmed for what passed as night cycle, Catherine placed both hands on the wall. "Ship," she whispered, "help me." The wall glowed brighter than before. Symbols flowed across its surface, then settled into a pattern. In the center, a shape formed that looked remarkably like a human hand. Catherine slowly placed her palm over the glowing handprint. The door to her cell slid open without a sound. Catherine stared at the open door. She had not expected the ship to respond so directly. Now she had to decide quickly what to do. The guards would be back soon. She stepped into the hallway and looked both ways. No aliens in sight. The blue lights on the walls seemed dimmer than usual. Catherine wondered if the ship was helping her by lowering the lights. "Which way is safe?" she whispered. Small lights on the floor lit up, forming a path to the right. Catherine followed them, moving as quietly as possible. She kept close to the wall, ready to hide if needed. The lights led her to a small door she had never seen before. It was half the size of the other doors on the ship and looked older somehow. The surface had the same symbols she had seen in her cell. Catherine placed her hand on the door. It slid open, revealing a tight space that looked like a maintenance tunnel. She crawled inside and the door closed behind her. The tunnel was narrow, but tall enough for her to stand. It glowed with a soft white light that seemed to follow her as she moved. After walking for about 10 minutes, the tunnel opened into a small room. This room was different from the rest of the ship. The walls were white instead of gray. There was a chair in the center and a large screen on the wall. The chair looked almost human-sized, unlike the tall seats the Vaxery used. "What is this place?" Catherine asked. The screen lit up with symbols that shifted and changed. Then, to her surprise, they formed into English letters. Command Access Point 7, authorized. "Personnel only? You understand English?" Catherine asked, amazed. More than 4,000 Earth languages in database. Catherine sat in the chair. It adjusted to fit her body perfectly. "Who are you?" she asked the room. "I am Vessel Designation Starchild, predecessor. Construction, age, 17,432 standard years." Catherine's eyes widened. This ship was ancient, far older than human civilization. The Vaxery built you? Negative, Vaxery discovered this vessel 342 years ago. They are not authorized users. Catherine was starting to understand. But I am an authorized user? Affirmative. Genetic pattern matches predecessor designate. Human. Access granted to Catherine Wright, Lieutenant, Earth Fleet. How do you know my name? Scanned identification in uniform. Also retrieved data from escape pod systems. This was incredible. The ship was intelligent and had chosen to help her. But why now? Why had it let the Vaxery use it for hundreds of years? Why did you wait until now to contact an authorized user? No humans encountered before, ship systems partly dormant. Your voice-activated recognition protocols. Catherine nodded. It made sense. The ship had been waiting for someone like her all this time. What can you tell me about the Vaxery? Why did they attack my ship? Vaxery believe humans are territorial threat. They plan preemptive strike against Earth colonies. Catherine felt cold fear. The horizon had been just the beginning. Earth didn't even know they were at war yet. I need to warn Earth. Can you help me send a message? Communication possible but restricted. Vaxery monitor all transmissions. Where is the ship heading now? Current. Course Proxima Centauri system. Estimated arrival 6 days. Vaxery. Fleet gathering for attack on human colony. Proxima Centauri was home to New Eden, one of Earth's largest colonies with over 2 million people. They had to be warned. Is there any way for me to control this ship? Catherine asked. Limited control available through this interface. Full control requires bridge access. Catherine thought hard. She couldn't take over the whole ship yet, but maybe she could do something to help Earth. Can you show me the ship layout? I need to know where everything is. The screen changed to show a 3D map of the massive vessel. Catherine was amazed by its size. The ship was like a floating city. Where are the communication systems? A section of the map lit up, showing a room 3 levels above her. And where are the Vaxery looking for me right now? Red dots appeared on the map, moving through corridors near her old cell. They were searching but hadn't expanded to this area yet. Catherine studied the map, forming a plan. I need to reach the communication room without being caught. Alternative solution available. This access point can send short-range messages. Detection risk lower. That might work. Is there a human ship close enough to receive a message? Scanning. Earth vessel detected at edge of sensor range. Designation. EDF Liberty. The Liberty was a small patrol ship, but it could relay a message to Earth. Catherine felt hope for the first time since her capture. Help me send a message to the Liberty. The screen changed to show a communication interface. Catherine quickly typed a warning about the Vaxery fleet and the planned attack on New Eden. She included her name and rank for verification. Message ready? Send? Send it, Catherine confirmed. The screen flashed as the message was transmitted. Then a warning appeared. Communication detected by Vaxery systems. Security alert initiated. Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Catherine stood up quickly. They know something happened. Will they find this room? Room shielded from standard. Scans. Temporary safety provided. What should I do now? Recommend further integration with ship systems. Will increase control capabilities. How do I do that? Place both hands on interface panel. A panel opened on the wall beside the screen. Catherine hesitated, then placed her hands on it. The surface felt warm and seemed to pulse with energy, initiating neural interface. Warning. Process cannot be reversed. What will happen to me? Catherine asked. Suddenly worried. You will remain unchanged physically. Mental connection to ship systems will be established. You will gain access to ship functions through thought. Catherine took a deep breath. It was risky, but she needed every advantage she could get. Do it. The panel glowed brighter. Catherine felt a strange tingling in her hands that spread up her arms and into her head. It wasn't painful, but it felt like thousands of tiny electrical pulses moving through her body. Integration beginning. Standby. Images flooded Catherine's mind. She saw corridors, rooms, and systems throughout the massive ship. She could sense the Vaxery moving through the vessel, now searching in all directions for the source of the unauthorized Transmission. She also felt something else, a presence in her mind that seemed ancient and curious. The ship itself was becoming aware of her. Integration complete. Welcome. Pilot Catherine. The word pilot echoed in her mind. She wasn't just a user of the ship anymore. She was its rightful pilot. Catherine opened her eyes and saw the room differently. Now, she could sense the systems behind the walls and understand their functions instinctively. What can I do now? She asked, but she already knew the answer. You can fight back. Catherine felt a new power flow through her mind. With the neural link complete, she could see and feel parts of the ship that were hidden before. It was like having extra eyes and hands that could reach throughout the massive vessel. Show me where the Vax research teams are, she thought. In her mind, she saw red dots moving through the ship. 4 groups of aliens were searching different areas. One group was getting closer to her location. Can I lock doors to keep them away? Catherine asked. Yes. Basic control of doors and lights now available. Catherine focused her thoughts on the corridors leading to her hiding place. She imagined the doors closing and locking. To her amazement, she felt the ship respond. The doors sealed shut, blocking the approaching Vaxery. Through the ship's internal sensors, she could hear the aliens' confused clicks and hisses as they found their path blocked. That won't hold them for long, Catherine said. I need a better plan. Recommend movement to secondary control room. Location 2 levels up. Maintenance tunnels provide safe route. A map appeared in Catherine's mind, showing a path through narrow tunnels that the larger Vaxery couldn't easily follow. Lead the way, she said. The door to the maintenance tunnel opened again. Catherine entered and followed the glowing lights that only she could see. The ship was guiding her through its hidden passages. As she crawled through the tunnels, Catherine asked, Why are you helping me against the Vaxery? They've controlled you for centuries. Vaxery are users, not controllers. They lack full access. They have used this vessel against its purpose. What is your purpose? To connect worlds, to share knowledge. The predecessors built me to unite their children races. Children races? You mean humans and others? Correct. Predecessors seeded many worlds with life before their extinction. Humans are one result, Vaxery another. But Vaxery seek dominance, not unity. Catherine understood better now. The ancient builders of this ship had spread life across the stars, including Earth. They had created both humans and Vaxery, hoping their children would someday work together. Instead, the Vaxery had found this ship and were using it for war. The tunnel ended at a small door. It opened to reveal a room larger than the first command center. This one had multiple screens and a central platform that looked like a pilot station. What is this place? Catherine asked as she stepped inside. Navigation. Control. From here, ship course can be altered. Catherine walked to the central platform. Can I change our course away from the human colony? Limited course changes possible. Major changes require bridge access. What can I do from here? You can slow our progress, create minor system failures, communicate with Earth vessels undetected. That gave Catherine an idea. The Liberty might still be in range. Can we contact them again with more details? Affirmative, secure channel available. Catherine composed a longer message to the Earthship. She explained about the ancient vessel, her connection to it, and the Vaxery plans. She requested immediate help and suggested a way to coordinate their efforts. As the message sent, Catherine felt something new through her link with the ship. An awareness, almost like another person watching her. Is someone else connected to you? She asked the ship. Commander Krell has detected anomalies in ship behavior. He suspects outside interference. Catherine saw through the ship's sensors that Commander Krell was in the main bridge. Surrounded by other high-ranking Vaxery, they were checking systems and issuing commands to find the source of the problems. Can they trace the connection to me? Catherine asked. Not directly, but they can isolate affected systems. A warning flashed in Catherine's mind. The Vaxery had shut down access to several sections of the ship. Her control was becoming more limited. I need to do something bigger before they lock me out completely, Catherine said. Then she had an idea. Through her neural link, she had seen The ship's memory banks. There was information there that the Vaxery had never accessed. "Show me the files about the predecessor's plan for humans and Vaxery," she requested, the screens filled with images and text. Catherine saw the history of the ancient race that had seeded life across the galaxy. They had created both humans and Vaxery with different strengths, hoping the two species would someday find each other and work together. The Vaxery don't know this, do they? Catherine asked. Correct? They accessed weapon systems and navigation. Only historical and biological files remained sealed until authorized user connected. Can I send this information to the main bridge? Let them see the truth? Warning, revealing your access will accelerate Vaxery countermeasures. Do it anyway, Catherine decided. They need to know we're supposed to be allies, not enemies. The ship complied. On the main bridge, all screens suddenly changed to show the predecessor files. Commander Krell and the other Vaxery officers stepped back in surprise as their ancestors' true history was revealed through the ship's sensors. Catherine heard their confused discussions. Some dismissed the information as a trick. Others seemed troubled by what they saw. Commander Krell was the most affected. He studied the screens carefully, his posture showing what Catherine guessed was deep thought. I need to speak to him directly. Catherine said, "Open a communication channel to the bridge." Channel opened. Catherine took a deep breath. Commander Krell, this is Lieutenant Catherine Wright. I am not your enemy. Neither are the humans of Earth. We were meant to meet as friends, not in war. She saw the commander's reaction through the ship's cameras. He looked around, trying to locate the source of her voice. "Human prisoner," he said in his rough translated English. "How do you control ship systems?" "I don't control the ship," Catherine answered. "I'm working with it. The predecessors built it to recognize humans as authorized users just as they intended it to recognize Vaxery. We are both their children." "Lies," Krell responded, but he sounded less certain. "Where are you hiding? I'm safe for now." "But that's not important. What matters is that your fleet is heading to attack a human colony based on a misunderstanding. We don't have to be enemies." Before Krell could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. The neural link showed Catherine that 3 Vaxery warships had suddenly appeared nearby. Incoming transmission from Vaxery High Command. The ship informed her on the bridge. A large screen showed the face of an older Vaxery with elaborate markings on its exoskeleton. "Commander Krell," the new Vaxery said through a translator. "We detected unauthorized transmissions from your vessel to a human ship. Explain." Krell looked uncomfortable. "High Admiral, we are investigating a security breach. The human prisoner has somehow accessed ship systems?" "An acceptable failure," the High Admiral said. "Your mission is compromised. Prepare for immediate boarding. We will secure the vessel and eliminate the human problem." Catherine felt cold fear. If more Vaxery came aboard, she would have nowhere to hide. Through her link, she felt the ship's response to her fear. "Do not worry, Pilot Catherine. Full defensive systems now available to you." "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means you can protect yourself and perhaps change a commander's mind." The High Admiral's ships moved closer to the Starchild. Catherine could feel their presence through her connection with the ship. They were preparing to send boarding parties. "What defensive systems do I have access to?" Catherine asked. "Internal security drones, door controls, atmospheric systems, limited shield control." "Show me the security drones." Images filled Catherine's mind. Throughout the ship, small floating machines sat in hidden compartments. They had never been activated by the Vaxery. "Can I use these to protect myself without hurting anyone?" "Affirmative." Drones have multiple settings, stun capability available. Catherine made her decision. "Activate 10 drones. Bring them to my location for protection," she felt the ship respond. In various parts of the vessel, wall panels slid open. Small silver spheres floated out and began moving through corridors toward her position on the bridge. Commander Krell was arguing with the High Admiral. "The human has accessed historical files only," Krell said. "There is no threat to our mission." The High Admiral's eyes narrowed. "You sound concerned for the human, Commander. Has it affected your loyalty? My loyalty is to our people, Krell replied stiffly. But the information this human revealed deserves investigation. There is nothing to investigate, the High Admiral snapped. Humans are territorial aggressors. The files are obviously fabricated to confuse us. Catherine listened to this exchange through the ship's systems. She needed to convince Krell before the High Admiral's forces arrived. Ship, can you give me a private channel to Commander Krell's personal communication device? She asked, connecting. Catherine felt the channel open. Commander Krell, this is Catherine Wright again. Please listen carefully. The High Admiral doesn't want to consider the possibility that our species are connected, but you've seen the evidence. Through the ship's cameras, she saw Krell touch his communication device. He moved away from the other officers before responding. Quietly, human Catherine, why should I believe you? The ship responded to me because I'm an authorized user just like your people should be. The predecessors created both our species. We have the same creators. If true, why did ship not recognize? Vaxxery is authorized? Catherine hadn't considered that question before. Ship, why don't you recognize the Vaxxery as authorized users like humans? Vaxxery genetic code was altered after predecessor departure, natural evolution plus self-modification. Recognition markers nitrogen monoxide longer present, she relayed this information. To Krell, your species evolved and changed itself over time. The markers the ship looks for were lost. There was a long pause before Krell responded. Our histories speak of ancient times when our ancestors modified their bodies to survive on our world. That must be when the changes happened, Catherine said. But the ship can be updated to recognize your people too. We can share access as the predecessors intended. In her mind, Catherine asked, is that true? Can you update your recognition systems to include the Vaxxery? With authorized user approval, yes. Partial access can be granted to Vaxxery. Before she could tell Krell this good news, alarms sounded throughout the ship. The High Admiral's forces had arrived, boarding craft. Approaching 20 Vaxxery soldiers preparing to enter, Catherine needed to act quickly. Ship, can you temporarily lock down the docking bays? Temporary measures possible, delay estimated at 10 minutes. Do it, Catherine ordered. And send the drones to protect the approaches to this room, the ship responded instantly. Catherine felt the docking bay doors close and lock. Through the cameras, she saw the High Admiral's angry reaction. Krell, what is happening? The High Admiral demanded. Unknown, High Admiral, Krell answered truthfully. The ship is acting independently. Impossible. Find the human and stop this. Krell gathered a team of officers and left the bridge. But instead of spreading out to search, he led them directly toward Catherine's location. He knew where she was. The security drones arrived at the navigation control room where Catherine waited. They formed a protective ring around her, hovering silently. Ship, Krell is coming here with a team. Are they planning to capture me? Commander Krell's communication device shows no alert signals. Other officers' devices indicate standard search. Pattern that was strange. If Krell wanted to capture her, why hadn't he alerted the others? The door to the corridor outside the control room opened. Krell stepped in alone, leaving his team in the hallway. The drones moved forward, ready to defend. Catherine, wait, she told the drones. Let him speak. Krell looked at the floating machines with surprise, then at Catherine. It was the first time they had seen each other face to face since her escape. Human Catherine, he said. You control ship now, not control, she corrected. We're working together. The ship and I. Krell's forearms made a complex gesture that Catherine couldn't interpret. High Admiral will take ship by force. We'll take you prisoner again. Or worse, Catherine said. He doesn't seem interested in keeping me alive. Correct assessment. Krell moved closer, looking at the control platform, where Catherine stood. This navigation system can change course? Yes, but only minor changes. Why? High Admiral plans attack on human colony. Many deaths not necessary. Catherine was surprised by Krell's concern. You don't want to attack the colony? Want truth. First, if predecessors made both our species, war is mistake. This was better than Catherine had hoped. Krell was questioning the attack plan. What do you suggest? She asked. Change course, away from human colony. Give time for truth-finding, Catherine nodded. I can try. But the High Admiral's forces will board soon. I will delay them, Krell sighed. My team follows my orders first. Catherine turned to the navigation controls. Through her neural link, she could see the current course clearly. They were headed directly for the Proxima Centauri system, where the human colony was located. Ship, can we alter course away from Proxima Centauri? Minor course change possible. Suggest deviation toward nearby star system. Alpha Mensae, nitrogen monoxide colonies present. Safe neutral location. Do it, Catherine ordered. She felt the massive ship begin to turn. The engines adjusted their output, pushing the vessel in a new direction. Alarm sounded immediately. On the bridge, the officers noticed the course change. Commander Krell, a voice called through his communication device. The ship has changed course. The High Admiral demands explanation. Krell looked at Catherine. Tell your ship to give me partial access. I will handle High Admiral. Can we trust him? Catherine asked the ship privately. Commander Krell shows genuine interest in predecessor files. Conflict between his duty and new knowledge detected. Risk acceptable. Grant Commander Krell partial access to navigation and communication systems. Catherine instructed. She felt the ship reconfigure its security protocols. A moment later, Krell's eyes widened as new information flowed into his command device. I have access, he said with what Catherine thought might be a Vaxery version of surprise. The predecessors truly wanted our species to work together. Yes, Catherine said. We can stop this conflict before it starts, but we need to convince the High Admiral. Krell made a sound that might have been a laugh. High Admiral will not be convinced, but others in fleet might listen. If we show them proof, then let's give them proof they can't ignore, Catherine said. Together, they turned toward the control platform as the ship continued its new course, away from war and toward a possible peace. The High Admiral's voice boomed through the ship's communication system. Commander Krell, return the vessel to its original course immediately. This is direct treason. Krell looked at Catherine. High Admiral will not wait long before attacking. How much time do we have? She asked. Minutes only. His ships surround us. Catherine needed a plan quickly. The ship's neural link showed her the positions of the Vaxery warships. They had formed a circle around the Starchild, weapons ready. At the same time, she detected something new at the edge of the ship's sensor range. Ship, what are those signals? She asked mentally. Earth Defense Fleet vessels approaching. 5. Ships. Lead vessel identified as Edf Liberty. Catherine smiled. Her message had gotten through. Earth had sent help. We have Earth ships coming, she told Krell. But if they arrive and find Vaxery weapons ready, they'll attack. We need to defuse this situation now, Krell considered for a moment. Most Vaxery captains follow High Admiral from fear, not loyalty. If they see proof of predecessor connection, many will question attack plan. Then let's show them all the proof at once, Catherine said. Ship, can you broadcast the predecessor files to all Vaxery vessels simultaneously? Broadcast capability confirmed. However, High Admiral's vessel has blocking technology. That's okay, Catherine said. We don't need to convince him, just the other captains. She turned to Krell. If we do this, the High Admiral will see it as a direct challenge to his authority. Are you prepared for that? Krell stood straighter, his forearms moving in what Catherine now recognized as a gesture of determination. Truth more important than rank, my duty to Vaxery people, not one leader. Okay then, Catherine said, let's do this. Together they prepared the broadcast. Catherine selected the most compelling evidence from the predecessor files. The genetic markers showing the connection between humans and Vaxery, the historical records of how both species were created, and the predecessors' hope that their children would someday unite. Krell added his own message to the Vaxery captains, explaining what he had discovered and why he believed attacking humans would be a terrible mistake. Ready to broadcast, Catherine said. "One moment," Krell replied. He touched his communication device and spoke to his team waiting outside. "Return to bridge. Secure positions. Protect navigation controls." Catherine looked at him questioningly. "High Admiral will send soldiers to stop us," Krell explained. "My team will hold them off," Catherine nodded. "Ship, begin broadcast to all Vaxery vessels." The ship channeled energy to its communication array. Catherine felt the power flow through the systems as the massive data package went out to every Vaxery. Ship except the High Admiral's vessel. On the screens, they could see the reactions. On ship after ship, Vaxery officers gathered around displays showing the predecessor files. Some dismissed the information immediately, but many more seemed interested or confused. "It's working," Catherine said. "They're at least looking at it." The High Admiral's angry voice came through again. "Commander Krell, you are relieved of duty. All loyal Vaxery, seize control of the vessel and the human." Through the ship's internal sensors, Catherine saw 3 groups of Vaxery soldiers moving toward their position. Krell's team on the bridge was outnumbered. "We need more time," Catherine said. "Ship, activate all security drones. Non-lethal defense only." Throughout the vessel, hundreds of silver spheres emerged from hidden compartments. They moved to intercept the approaching soldiers, using stun fields to slow their advance. "Earth ships arriving in 10 minutes, Catherine noted. "But the High Admiral might attack before then." On the screens, they saw the High Admiral's vessel moving closer, weapons powering up. "He plans to disable ship," Krell said grimly. "Then board with full force." Catherine felt the ship's concern through their neural link. The Starchild was ancient and powerful, but it had been designed for exploration and connection, not war. "Ship, what defensive capabilities do you have?" she asked. "Shield systems at 60% efficiency, minor defensive weapons available. This vessel was not designed for combat." The situation looked bleak. Then Catherine had an idea. "Ship, you said you were built to connect worlds and share knowledge. Can you create a direct neural connection between myself and the Vaxery captains? Show them what I've experienced? Direct neural broadcast possible but untested with Vaxery physiology, risk of rejection high." "Ask for volunteers," Catherine suggested. "Let them choose to connect." The ship sent out a new message to the Vaxery fleet. It explained the possibility of a direct sharing of knowledge and asked for willing participants. For a long moment, there was no response. Then, one by one, signals came back from 5 of the 8 Vaxery ships. Their captains were willing to try. Establish the connection. Catherine instructed. She felt a new sensation as the ship linked her mind not just to its systems but to 5 Vaxery captains. It was strange but not uncomfortable. Through the link, she shared her experiences, the discovery of the ship's true nature, the predecessor files, and most importantly, her genuine desire for peace between their species. In return, she felt the Vaxery captain's thoughts. Their initial suspicion and confusion gave way to understanding. They had been told humans were aggressive enemies. But through Catherine's memories, they saw another possibility. The connection lasted only a minute before the ship ended it to protect all participants. But it was enough. On the screens, Catherine and Krell watched as the 5 ships powered down their weapons. "They believe us," Catherine said with relief. The High Admiral's voice roared through the communication system again. "This is your final warning. Return to formation or be destroyed as traitors." On the screen, they saw his ship fire warning shots near 2 of the Vaxery vessels that had stood down. "He will attack his own ships," Krell said in disbelief. Before the High Admiral could fire again, new signals appeared. The Earth Defense Fleet had arrived, led by the Liberty. They took position near the Starchild, weapons ready but not firing. A new voice came through the communication system. "This is Captain Greg Daniels of the Earth Defense Fleet. We are responding to a distress call from Lieutenant Catherine Wright. We request immediate cessation of hostilities and open dialogue." Catherine opened a channel. "Captain Daniels, this is Lieutenant Wright. I'm aboard the Vaxery vessel with Commander Krell. We've discovered something important, humans and Vaxery share common creators. This ship is evidence of that connection. 5 Vaxery captains have accepted this truth, but the High Admiral refuses to listen. There was a pause before Captain Daniels responded. Lieutenant, we're detecting unusual energy readings from your vessel. Can you explain? This ship is ancient, Captain. It was built by a race called the Predecessors who created both humans and Vaxery. It recognized me as an authorized user because I'm human. It's helping us communicate with the Vaxery, who want peace. The standoff continued for several tense minutes. The High Admiral's ship remained in attack position, while the other Vaxery vessels and the Earth fleet held their positions. Finally, one of the Vaxery captains broke the silence. High Admiral, we have reviewed the predecessor files and experienced the neural connection. We believe attack on humans is wrong. Our people share common origin. We should talk, not fight. One by one, the other captains voiced their agreement. The High Admiral found himself increasingly isolated. Catherine felt the ship's satisfaction through their neural link. This was its purpose, bringing together the children of the predecessors. What happens now? She asked Krell. Change begins, he replied. Not easy, not quick, but possible. On the main screen, they saw the High Admiral's ship slowly power down its weapons. Not surrender, but at least a willingness to talk. Captain Daniels' voice came through again. Lieutenant Wright, we're preparing a shuttle to bring you home. Catherine looked at Krell, then at the control panel where her hands rested. She felt the ship's presence in her mind, curious, ancient, and wise. Actually, Captain, she said, I think I'll be staying aboard a while longer. There's a lot more to learn here. And a lot more to share. The Star Child hummed with approval around her. After thousands of years, it had finally fulfilled its purpose. The children of the predecessors were talking instead of fighting, and it had all started because a ship had responded to her voice.